Holla ballers, what's going on? It's Preacher, and today we're going to be starting our little series of standing out. This is what I always want you guys to do, is to be the guy who people want in the raid, right? You don't want to be a replaceable face. That fucking sucks. You want to be the guy that's like, I want this guy in the raid. And the way we're going to do that is look at fights where you're allowed to have a bit of flair, a little bit of something that you can do a little bit different, which in many cases can lead to everyone else having an easier time. Ergo, I want this guy in the raid. Have you noticed that when we bring X player, things are easier? Yeah, right? You want to be that guy. Now, not every fight has the potential for flair. This is certainly not a guide. The Fat Boss guys do a great job of doing all the guides. What we're looking at is fights where we can do a little bit of something extra. So, Mythic Spider, for example, not much you can do there. You got to follow the rules of the fight as a whole, otherwise it doesn't really work. But Mythic Nythendra has a couple of opportunities for flair where you can use your class abilities and your skills in ways that allow you to manipulate the fight and make that fight significantly easier for everyone else, even if they don't notice it. Right? Even if they don't notice it. It doesn't matter if they notice or not, because you're probably going to get the first kill anyway. So, let's look at Nythendra. Two big things that you can do to make the fight easier. Firstly, the mind control, okay? The mind control. How does the mind control work if you're not sure? Is if you get hit by anything in the fight, that includes getting targeted by rot by the boss, standing in something, hitting a rot pool on the floor, and of course the tanks, when they explode, give everybody a stack. Once you get 10 stacks, the next time the boss casts Infested Mind, you're going to become mind controlled. Now, this is part of the fight. You get broken out by taking damage. You're going to start casting stuff which you don't want to allow through. That's really bad. So, you are going to get mind controlled during this fight, probably a couple of times. That's fine. That's all part of the fight. It's nothing you should be worried about. A lot of people hear mind control and lose their fucking mind. You as absolute gangsters should be like, yeah, that's cool. I can handle that. Where do I need to be when I get mind controlled? I can watch my stacks. I'm good at the game. I can see I have over 10 stacks or 10 or above, and I will definitely be there for mind control. So how can you manipulate this in order to be better? Well, it depends on your guild's strategy somewhat. Some guilds like to stagger the mind controls, right? I've seen this happen a lot. We tried it for a couple of pulls, wasn't what paid off for us. What do I mean by stagger? You can force yourself to be part of the next mind controlled group. So what you could say is, although it's the first rot, and I'm only at 3 stacks, I'm safe for a long time, you can actually go and stand in rot pools, just take a few hits of stuff, and build yourself up to 10 stacks to guarantee that you will be part of the next mind control group. The reason you might do this is the worst thing that can happen on Nythendra is loads of you get mind controlled at once. For every person that's mind controlled, that's less DPS to break them out, right? It's a nice simple swinging pendulum there. The more people mind controlled, the longer it takes to break people out, the more chance of a wipe, the more chance somebody's going to cast something while mind controlled which kills you. You want a reasonably even balance where there's a few people getting mind control, but there's plenty of people to break it out in a swift time as well. So how do we do this? You are going to take on the role of being able to check out what the rest of the raid is doing. Everybody has various skill level in raids, right? That's normal. All the way from the top down to the bottom, there's varying skill levels. So you want to make sure that things are as easy as possible. So you should be able to see what everyone else's mind control stacks and assess for yourself how many people are going to get mind controlled next. Then you can start to make some decisions. If you see that not many, like 1, 2 people are going to get mind control next, you can think to yourself, what are my stacks now? I'm on, say, 7 stacks, and only a couple of people are going to get mind controlled next. That's when you can make the decision, I should get mind controlled next too. That means for the next mind control, there's a good chance that I'm not going to be mind controlled, while other people will be who are on lower stacks than I am right now. So if you're on 7 and they're on 4, the chances are they're going to be fine until the mind control after. So you can maybe push yours up ahead, go and stand in a rock pool and get 3 stacks or whatever, get mind controlled next, and then you've brought a potential situation where you and the guy who's on 4 would have got mind controlled on the second one to actually just be 1 DPS is now free in the form of you. And that guy will get mind controlled and you can help break them out. You can make decisions. Now, you have to communicate this. Holy shit, you have to communicate this, because what you don't want is everybody going standing in pools unnecessarily and getting everybody mind controlled. You don't want to do that, but you want to say something like, I'm going to get myself mind controlled next because that'll even out the numbers, right? And then everybody else will go, okay, cool, somebody's going to do that. We can make judgments like that on the fly. Similarly, if you can see that everybody else is going to get mind controlled next, you should be very, very aware that you want to try and avoid that as much as possible. Remember, you only get mind controlled when she casts the infested mind, right? So if you're at 9 That's cool. You're not going to get mind control, but you can go all the way up to 14, 15 or whatever. Until she casts Infested Mind, she's not going to mind control you. It doesn't fucking matter. So at that point, you might say, oh shit, everybody's on like 8 stacks. I think we're going to get a lot of people mind controlled next. Or there's definitely people who are on 10, 11, 12. That's going to happen. And I'm on 9. Holy fuck. You might want to start playing really well at that point, sacrificing even a bit of deeps just to make sure you're not going to be part of that mind control group. And saying to other people as well, again, communication, trying to control is like, look, it's really important that people don't get extra stacks at this point. Please just take very extra care of your safety and sort this out. In terms of the stagger technique that I mentioned earlier, where even early people are taking maybe 7 extra stacks early on to try and stagger it, we found that didn't work out, and I don't think it's a good idea. The reason for that is you don't know what the boss is going to do. You don't know if someone's going to have a really bad moment during the suck-in phase when she sucks in all the pools. So you could have a guy who gets the first rot, might only have a couple of stacks, and say, right, you guys get mind control so we can stagger it. The problem is that guy might get targeted twice more by rot for all you know. He might get hit by breath. He might get hit by a bug in the other phase. Things like that. And very quickly, that one guy who was supposed to be free is suddenly brought way up into mind control territory again, and you end up with everybody doing it. So I'd be really careful of doing things like that. The next one is baiting. Now, I appreciate not every class can do this, and yes, as a mage, it's particularly easy for me, but there are definitely skills and abilities available to other players to do this. The infested breath is going to fill like 1/3 of the room in poison, right? And the best way to survive the suck-in phase with all the maggots and stuff is to have as much open space as possible, allowing people to spread evenly. If you all bunch up, you'll tend to find the maggots bunch up and they're more difficult to see, leads to more problems, leads to chaos, leads to anarchy. Don't want that. So what you could do, depending again on your strategy of whether you split the group or you try and get all the group in one place, the ideal situation you want to be in is that she casts Infested Breath, which will fill 1/3 of the room in poison, in the same position twice. You want to try and bait that to happen. Now, again, it does come down to your class, but what you shouldn't be doing, which is what the vast majority of players will do, is see Infested Breath. They'll move, whether you're moving around the room in a clockwise formation or whatever it is you might do, in order to avoid it, and then stay in their new position. What a good player should be doing is looking back. Where did she cast Infested Breath? There will always be these spots where there's an open gap. It might just be one fucking pool in the middle of nowhere where there's gaps, but usually there's 2 or 3. Good players should be doing 2 things here. How many stacks do I have? If I don't have great mobility, can I move through there and still be safe from mind control to help out other people? This is the sign of a good player. You assess the situation. What's the mind control status of the group? Can I get to that position? If you're not, have I got mobility so I can literally get over these pools or move through them in a way where I won't get stacks and take up that position? The more players you have in that area, the more chance it is that she's going to bait the breath over there, and that leaves a significant portion of the room empty for everyone else to have a much easier time. Okay? But you have to assess, is this a good idea? Now, it might seem overly basic to a lot of people to do things like this, but I guarantee you there'll be a significant portion of your player base who absolutely can take advantage of these situations and don't. In the worst case scenario, by doing this, you don't get targeted by anything, right? That's the worst case scenario, as you move into this position, which is god-awful hell on earth for your average raider, but for you, you're perfectly comfortable because you can get into this position, and secondly, you have a way of getting the fuck out of it again without doing something stupid like dying. And nothing happens to you. You don't get rot and she doesn't target you with breath. Okay, but you tried your best, right? You tried your best and that's all that matters. Best case scenario, she targets you with a rot and she infests the breath, the whole area, and therefore the entire phase, which keeps getting groups undone with maggots and bugs and all that kind of stuff, is significantly easier for 19 other people. Right? 19 other people have a much easier time because you took the advantage and played a little bit better. So those are the things that I think you should be focusing on for Mythic Nythendra when you actually get there. Some of you have probably already killed it right now, but being aware of these extra things is what's going to make you stand out. Don't be a dick though and go, I'm stood over here hoping to bait the breath because I'm smug as fuck. Don't do that. Just be a fucking gangster and get your ass over there. Alright guys, so good luck with that fight. I hope you kill it. It's one of the more interesting ones, especially compared to Spider, which fucking sucks. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.